to rapid citizenship so they can vote. I think a lot of them are going to vote for me. You want to know the truth?
Donald Trump just gave a sloppy and unsteady speech in Racine, Wisconsin, only a few days after he dissed the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the RNC is going to be held in less than a month. Trump opened the speech trying to do damage control for his comments about Milwaukee, then spent the rest of the speech glitching, lying, and making vague threats. It was a terrible speech. He is becoming increasingly unhinged in front of our eyes. Watch this clip of him trying to do damage control for his Milwaukee comments.
Oh, and you know, I love Milwaukee. I was the one that picked Milwaukee, I have to tell you. I was the one that picked it. These lying people that they say, oh, he doesn't like Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee. I said, you got to fix the crime. We all know that. You got to make sure the election's honest. But I'm the one that picked Milwaukee, and the Democrats, or the radical left lunatics, as I call them, what they say is just so terrible. They lie. They have a horrible candidate. They have a candidate that has no clue, doesn't know where he is, and all they can do is lie. I love it. I'm the one that picked Milwaukee officially, so...
Of course, Donald Trump is lying to their face, and they are eating it up. The New York Times reads, when Republicans gather in Milwaukee next month to nominate him for president, Donald J. Trump planned to stay not in the convention's host city, but at a Trump hotel in Chicago, some 90 miles away, according to 3 people briefed on the former president's logistics. Mr. Trump now intends to stay in Milwaukee, 2 of the people briefed on his logistics said. The change avoids a perceived slight to the largest city in Wisconsin, a vital battleground state. So Donald Trump called Milwaukee a horrible city, planned to stay in Chicago during the RNC, and is now doing damage control, and it's so incredibly transparent. He is now saying that he's going to stay in Milwaukee. He went to Wisconsin and said that he loves the state of Wisconsin and the city of Milwaukee. The article continues, Mr. Trump has been on the defensive about his views on Milwaukee since news outlets reported last week that he called it a horrible city in a private meeting with House Republicans in Washington. Following that report, a Trump campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, pushed back but added that Mr. Trump denounced, quote, how terrible crime and voter fraud are, end quote, in Milwaukee, reviving his false claims about voter fraud in 2020. Donald Trump went on Fox News the other day talking about how much he loved Milwaukee. He talked about the same thing during the opening of his speech. He is in absolute damage control mode, but watch this video of Donald Trump glitching on stage.
Joe Biden's granting mass he's going to formally grant a mass amnesty to millions of illegal aliens that came into our country.
Donald Trump then begins to talk about President Biden's age and tries to describe what cheap fakes are, which are deceptively edited videos, usually by slowing them down or splicing out selective portions, which is what Republicans are doing to President Biden. But Donald Trump was trying to explain to his crowd that these aren't cheap fakes, but he kept calling them clean fakes, while also talking about how President Biden is in cognitive decline and makes mistakes everywhere he goes, while Donald Trump is making a mistake about the name. Watch.
Joe and his handlers are insisting he's sharper than ever, and they say the videos of Crooked Joe shuffling around are clean fakes. You know what a clean fake is? They're deceptively edited. They say they're deceptively edited. All of the mistakes that he's made every day. He can't go anywhere without a mistake. Now, if I'm perfect, they say he made a mistake. Perfect. And I don't say clean fakes, although they do that. They do that. They're the fake news. Look how many you have out there. They're all over the place.
And towards the end of that clip, Trump begins to incite the crowd against the reporters or journalists in the back. He attacks them, as he does every single rally, and that's got to be a pretty scary situation. I mean, I've been to a lot of MAGA rallies. I've been in a lot of these intense situations, and having the entire crowd boo at you like that when you're just a journalist trying to do your job is incredibly scary, and I know that the journalists there were incredibly scared. Also, I've never showed a meme on my show before, but since he's talking about President Biden's age, I thought this meme was absolutely perfect. perfect. It shows a Fox News segment, a cartoon Fox News segment of President Biden wandering away from the White House. But when you zoom out and look at the full context, President Biden is grabbing his mail. And that is a perfect microcosm of what we've seen coming from the right over the past few months or even years with President Biden. Just the other day, him and Obama were walking off stage. Obama places his hand on Biden's back, and they cut that out. They turn it into a cheap fake, not a clean fake, and they cut it out and try to act like President Obama was escorting President Biden off stage when that is not what was happening at all. Donald Trump then begins to incite the crowd against immigrants. They start chanting, "Send them back."
Brought them to the United States of America. Thank you very much. No. Who can believe that they allow this to happen to our country?
Send them back! 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 Send them back!
Now, who can believe?
MAGA Republicans are now talking about deporting anywhere from 11 million to 20 million illegal immigrants, as they say. But number one, how do you do that without a massive amount of violence? Number two, how do you make sure you're not deporting actual citizens? Number three, why? Why can't people come here and provide labor and live a better life? Republicans always want a strong economy, but when immigration is proven to boost our economy, they prefer racism. This thread by Will Stancil on Twitter reads, "The insane white supremacist anti-immigrant campaign isn't just a moral atrocity, it's a huge economic threat to the US. Without immigrants, we'd be experiencing the devastating crunch that so many other countries are in, an aging population and not enough workers to support them. These neo-Nazi freaks aren't just at war with your neighbors, they're at war with the economic vitality of the entire country. They're so racist that they'd rather die miserably poor and suffering than have to share their neighborhood with someone who isn't white." That's what I was just saying. It's fundamentally, deeply un-American, a freakish old world obsession with ethnic purity. They're the ones who don't belong here, referring to MAGA Republicans. Well said by Will Stancil. Donald Trump then claims things were way better less than 4 years ago, and none of these wars would have happened if he was in office.
Less than 4 years ago, our border was secure, inflation was nowhere to be seen, the world was at peace, and America was strong and respected. We were respected all over the world. None of this stuff would have been happening that's happened now with Russia and Ukraine and the attack on Israel. None of it would have been happening. We would have had and we wouldn't have had a thing called inflation. That would have been nice too. But it was a different place 4 years ago, but now we're going to make it better and bigger and stronger than ever before. But you had a president who put America first. I put America first. They put America last.
Nothing screams putting America first like wanting to terminate the Constitution, like constantly undermining our legal system, constantly undermining our elections, sending your followers to subvert the will of the American people. Yeah, I'm sure this guy loves America. He then starts deploying Nazi-esque rhetoric by saying that deporting a massive amount of people, tens of millions of people, will reduce inflation and reduce housing costs. That is not how it works, as Will Stancil just explained.
I will also stop inflation by stopping the invasion, rapidly reducing housing costs. You know, they're taking over our hotels. Think of it. You have people that come in illegally that don't speak the language. We don't even know the country. These are countries where we have nobody in our country that even understands the language. And they're living in luxury hotels in many cases.
I know this doesn't need to be said, but Donald Trump genuinely has no clue what he's talking about. Sometimes it gives someone a veil of legitimacy when they're speaking to a massive crowd that's cheering them on, but we need to remember that this dude has no understanding of politics or the consequences of his policy prescriptions. His idea to fix the economy is to place a massive amount of tariffs, to slash taxes for the richest people, and now it is to deport 20 million people or 15 million people, whatever the number is today. Everything that Donald Trump wants to do would cripple our economy because he doesn't have economists by his side helping him out. I'm sure he got this advice from like Rudy Giuliani or Mike Lindell. Another unhinged Trump rally. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment a blue heart, hit the subscribe button, and have a great day.